It is the morning after the night before, and I still feel great, people. I feel absolutely brilliant. You know who doesn't feel brilliant? Our promotion rivals. They're not feeling too good this morning after Leeds comeback heroics last night against Sunderland. We're going to get into that, get into Danny Farker's comments and his euphoria and his ban for the next game against Sheffield United. Before we get into that, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, of course. Drop your thoughts and comments from the game and everything else in between. Just drop your comments below. Thank you to Dave Webster for the super thanks on the last video. Much appreciated, Dave. And thank you to all existing members who support the channel in that way. It means a lot. Thank you for that support. And if you want to become a member, the link is in the description. So, still feels good looking at this, doesn't it? 72 points after 33 games, 7 points away from the third spot in playoffs. This is what we want. This is what we need. And long may it continue, because there is only one way we're going with this kind of form, because this isn't like form now. This is a pattern. This is 33 games of the season gone. This is what Leeds United are. And that performance last night to come back from seemingly an impossible position, because I felt Sunderland had a game plan. They executed it well, but it just showed the quality told. And it was the depth from the bench that did it. And, you know, potentially a couple of those depth players will be probably in the starting lineup next week. But of course, we'll speak about that when we do the previews. I mean, Pascal, just to say on him, you know, LUFC data with the stat here, Pascal Struijk has become the first Leeds centre-back to score 14 goals for the club since David Weatherall in September 97. Weatherall was just before me in terms of my Leeds fandom. I remember him helping Leeds when he played for Bradford in order for us to secure European football when Bradford got a real shock win. But yeah, listen, he's a threat. He's a threat, and you could see that the big difference when Struijk is on the pitch, when he's not, is huge on set pieces. You don't need to be, you know, you don't need to have a set of eyes to see it. He's just a legitimate threat, and I've said many times, I pretty much say at the start of every season, I expect Pascal to get at least 5 goals from set pieces because he's that big of a threat, and you know he tacked on 2 last night from the subs bench, and you know, just pure euphoria, man, just pure euphoria. Daniel Farker's comments, let me just get into a couple of those. He was very happy, as you can tell. You know, he said a few things in terms of, you know, his euphoria. You know, Danny Farker's got a little passion merchant in him, as we know. But listen, he said this: best wins you can have, 7-0 or 4-0 are nice, but this 2 good sides, tight win, last second of the game. This type is the best in football, best for the group and supporters, biggest emotions, a great night for everyone. And there's a lot of truth in that. Someone last night who went to the game commented and said that felt even better than the 7-0. And I even said the 4-0 that we had recently was better than the 7-0 in a way. So it's not always the amount of goals you score. Sometimes it's the state of the game. And I absolutely get what he's talking about there. When we could beat, let's say we go back to the Prem, we could beat Palace 5-0. But if we beat Liverpool 2-1, that 2-1 is going to probably feel a little bit better than a you know, a 5-0 against Palace. So I understand that. And with the stakes as they were yesterday, and especially with the game, with the way it was going, I absolutely get what he's saying there. Obviously, I like to hit better teams. I like my team to show domination, but I completely understand the point here. Just talking about statistics there, nearly 70% possession, but we know that the possession game is just for show. We've won a couple games recently with less possession and looked really good in the process. So, you know, I'm not really too fussed about that one. He did say this about Joe Rothwell. And this is where I think his euphoria was really playing a part here. We don't have to speak about Joe's quality. He's a pure baller, one of the best players in the country with the ball, with his right foot, passing, technique, touches, outstanding set pieces, driving the game forwards. If you enjoy football, you enjoy Joe Rothwell. Well, I'll say it with this is kind of like, you know, and I'm going to just say this in context like this. You know, when you say, I love you, yeah, I really love you, but you're in the moment of euphoria and you don't really mean it. I think this is one of those instances here. I mean, you would think we was talking about Prime Xavi here, the way Farker's talking, but I understand Joe Rothwell's performance was absolutely phenomenal off the bench. And I'm not, you know me, I'm not the biggest numbers guy, but numbers don't lie from what your eye saw too. And he was just influential off the bench. But what I would say in counter to that for everyone now, because you know, football fans are easily influenced, because Daniel Farker said that now, all of a sudden now Joe Rothwell is the best midfielder in England, should play for England now, or if you know, but you know, he hasn't been playing recently, and it's been for a reason. It's been tactical reasons and a little bit of form as well. He hasn't been doing too much, and he's been the easiest one to drop out of the midfielders. So we'll see what happens next week. We'll talk about it in the weekend as well when it comes to the Sheffield United game, because Sunderland, there's a reason why Gruev did start. And prior to last night's game, Gruev had done really well in that role, locking down extra midfielders. Sheffield United are going to have the same thing next week in terms of their midfield battle. They've got that pest of a midfielder, Peck. They've got Vinny Souza in there, who's been really good for them. And they're going to have that kind of midfield. So it's going to be interesting to see if Farker does revert back or if Rothwell has earned a start. But of course, we'll speak about it then. But look, guys, it was an excellent cameo performance, but that's what it was from Joe Rothwell. And, you know, if as long as he can keep doing that when he's given minutes, long may it continue. Long may it continue. On his yellow card, Danny Farker. I have to check on the ban. Before the season, I had one in my career, 2 doubtful yellows this season, always the same, 4th official, like today. If I miss Bramwell Lane due to a celebration, then I have to adapt to the rules. And yes, at this point, people, I don't think there's any way of appealing it. He will be off the touchline against Sheffield United, which obviously is a blow for the players, but it's going to have to be something that they adapt to. They're going to have to get used to it. He'll have the rest of his team on the bench. But yeah, I think he will be banned for that game. I don't think they can even rescind a yellow card for a manager. But yeah, listen, I don't blame him. Again, I said it last night, the game's gone. The game is going in so many ways. And that's another thing. You've literally just got a 96-minute winner against one of your promotion rivals. And yeah, you may have spilled onto the pitch, but surely common sense can allow it. But as we say, common sense isn't always common, is it? And it's going out of football these days. And listen, I don't blame it on the ref. He's doing his job, because if he doesn't book Daniel Farker, then he gets in trouble from his higher ups. But that's where you got to change the rules. You got to make the football rules, you know, made by football people, not, you know, people in suits. But going on to that 96-minute winner and going back to the table, if there's one team that felt sick yesterday, it's Sheffield United. Maybe Burnley feel more relief, because if Sunderland had won that game, then you're turning this into an absolute shootout between 4 teams. Burnley probably feel more relief out of everyone. But if there's one team that had, you know, dreams of us losing, it would have been Sheffield United. So they could keep the top spot going into our big clash next Monday. And it's not happened. And you can only imagine what we would have felt like if Sheffield United had come back against a team around us and us playing them next. We'd be absolutely gutted. And I know Chris Wilder, I know that hurt him. I know he was drinking something on, you know, cold on the sofa, and he went, them Muppets from Leeds. Ugh. You know he felt it. And he's right too, because that was a statement win last night against Sunderland. Brilliant 3 points. But our promotion rivals, they know we've got, I'm not going to say we're there, but we got 1 foot. No. Half a foot. We're close. Because when you look at our games, people, and again, I look at patterns, I look at what we've done. I mean, this was recently the 4-0 against Watford, obviously Sunderland, but we've got a nice kind of gap in between the next 4 games. Obviously, we've got Sheffield United next Monday, so we can enjoy this win for the week, and I'll absolutely enjoy it, because I feel it's a big, you know, turning point of the season. You know, then we got West Brom on the Saturday, you know, almost a week later. And then Portsmouth away a week later. And obviously that's that 12 o'clock kickoff. And then, of course, we've got Millwall a couple of days later. But the point is, we've got a big space in between games where we can get players in and not have to worry about rotating them. And speaking of which, something I've said before, Farker did say there was no need to rush Stroud back. But he is ready to begin games. And that is one thing for me that we do need to bring back Strauch and Roden back together. Get Ampadu back in midfield, or whichever combination you want. But I do feel it will be Ampadu and Tanaka. I feel like it will be that. If you feel different, please put it in the comments. But we do need Strauch and Roden back together and get Ampadu back up. Listen, Ampadu got dog walked last night for the goal, but that is going to happen on occasions because he's not a centre back. So you get your strongest team in there. That Strauch at the back, Ampadu in midfield. That's where he does his best work. Tanaka in midfield next to him, and we go from there. We absolutely go from there. But that's what I like to see. Strauch is ready to start. Get him starting. He's a threat he's a rock in defense, and he's an offensive threat as well. Get him back in the team. But listen, people, I hope you've enjoyed the video this morning, your little morning supplement after last night's game. Get your comments in below, like the video, and I'll see you in the next one, people. Peace out. Top of the league with a 7-point gap.